What's going on, guys?
What up, Joe?
What's going on?
How's the week going?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
How do your fingers feel? That's the important question.
How do my fingers feel?
Yeah. From all that.
Thermostat installing?
Yeah.
I won't talk about it.
We know the two master Ecobee installers in the world right here.
No doubt.
We're gonna hold a record by the end of this job.
How many was there again?
283.
Yes.
Nice. What happened this week with me? I got an emergency call. I got a call from a hotel, and they were like, "Joe, you gotta come over here." I go, "What's going on?" "Oh, the general contractor doing some work. They hit the condenser. It fell." I'm like, "Okay." You know, if you hear that, you think, they might have hit the line set. Anybody in chat would say that too. They hit the line set, just patch it up, whatever you gotta do. I went there, and you'll see what I mean. Actually, Zach has a clip, so he might show you guys. I don't know if he's playing or not.
All right, guys, I'm at this hotel, and I got an emergency call saying the condenser fell. Let's go take a look and see what happened. So we're taking out this route. Look at this system. They mangled it. So I thought I was gonna get a leak here and I could just fix it, kick it. But the leak, I pressurized it. It's right here. There's a leak right there. Good old microchannel. So I'm gonna see if I could just order this coil a bit cheaper. There's a $6,000 repair. Refrigerant's empty. Taking out a route. They didn't want to move the system.
Crazy, eh? $6,000 repair, bud.
So what were they doing? They were re-roofing it?
So what happens is, beside the building, they're going to be doing some underground parking. Long story short, the inspector came. They got to do another exit entrance for the pool area. So that's going to be all patio, stoned or whatnot. So they're removing all the roots. They removed the root, and it just, I guess, somehow, some way, the coil flipped, and the leg must have hit the coil, and they got a puncture, and yeah. Luckily, they have one in stock, so $2,000 later, just a coil, they'll be getting a coil. So, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy because that unit's only 2 years old, and maybe in about a year or two, let's say more closer to 2 years, I have to remove the whole package unit and put it in the new hotel they're building at that same spot. A lot of going on.
Should have just pushed it through under warranty.
Well, what do you mean?
I'm just joking.
Okay.
2 years old, you know?
I know, but especially on a unit that looks like that. Here, let me take a picture. No. But it's
Very
crazy.
nice.
Yeah. Surprised me, that's for sure. I thought I was going to go there for a quick fix, and it wasn't a quick fix.
Well, I'm pretty excited.
Why is that?
We have a very special guest tonight.
Yes. The Godfather.
The man, the myth, the legend. The one and only.
Yeah.
Jim Bergman.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, how about you?
No, not too bad.
So I'm going to kick this off. I have a quick question for you. Somebody actually asked it the other day on this channel. There is, I don't know if there's a workaround to measure quick. A lot of times, I've noticed this myself. Do you have to update it all the time, like when you start the app, or is there a way to like bypass that and do it once every couple weeks?
Well, you can just not do the update. I mean, there's
You
always
can just skip it. It's not. I was just wondering if there's like a way, if it does any like ill effects on the.
no. You could, whatever. So we push the updates over the air, right? So you don't have to go to the app store or anything. It just tells you there's an update available. We push up a new piece of code out there, And the only downside of not doing an update is if we have something in the update that might fix a problem or, a calculation or something like that. Those are pretty rare. We have a lot of programs you guys don't see outside of the regular MeasureQuick community, because we have like utility companies that use it. We have a lot of just different users outside. And so when we do an update for them, it also does, an update to the app, because it's the same app running on everybody's device. It's just depending on what your login credentials are, you might see different things. So that's most of the time, though, with the exception of a couple updates recently where we did some stuff to the toolbox and made some improvements there. I'd say about maybe 50% of the updates, if you bypass them, you wouldn't even hurt anything.
Okay. I was super excited to see. I actually had a conversation. We talked about this a few minutes ago. I was talking to a girl from Sporland, maybe, I don't know, a few months back, just kind of ragging on her for not being part of MeasureQuick. And then I woke up one morning, I had an email from MeasureQuick, and there it was.
Yeah, that was I actually went down to see them, like, I want to say almost 2 years ago. I flew out, met with Sporland, had a really good meeting, and it just took them a long time to figure out that people really wanted MeasureQuick and that their customers just kept asking for it and annoying them. And finally, they just like, okay, we're going to do it. So they just called me one day and said, okay, we're all set. You can put it into MeasureQuick. And so it's pretty interesting because we had actually avoided doing refrigeration until we had their probes in, because theirs are temperature compensated. And you don't want to use like a lot of that, like the reason that they're expensive, like when you look at, the cost difference between, let's say, those and the Testos, is temperature compensation of the cell, of the sensor itself. So that when you run that through this calibration process, it's got to be temperature compensated from, like, let's say -40 to 140. So it's not a single point calibration like they do on the less expensive sensors. And it's not a big deal. Like the Testo ones are fine for air conditioning. You notice that they always talk about they're designed for air conditioning, because they're really not intended for refrigeration work, because they'll drift. So if you were to take a Testo probe and zero it and then put it in your freezer, you notice it would drift like 4 or 5 pounds of pressure pretty easily. And it's because they aren't engineered for that particular purpose. For air conditioning, nothing wrong with using them at all. But we wanted to wait until we had a company like Sporland stuff to actually do that. And I think out of all the smart probes out of there, they're probably the only ones that are temperature compensated right now.
They just feel like a nice, robust, I've had them for a long time, and I stopped using them just because of the app, when Field Piece came out, with their probes, that's what I'm using all the time. I kind of retired the Sporlands, and I'm like, yeah, I could finally put new batteries in these things and take them out.
Yeah, I actually like using the Sporland pressure probes with the Field Piece clamps, because I like those. Do you remember the original Sporlands, the real small ones?
Yep.
I like those a lot. I actually took, because those didn't come. Remember when you bought those, they only came with an 1/8" MPT thread on them. So Appion makes a really nice connector for their gauges. And so I grabbed a couple of those Appion connectors, put on the Sporland probes, and you get this really little compact unit. And it's pretty, I don't know, it fits in a lot of places nicely. I actually, I don't know, it's one of my, I just like this physical size of it, and it's just the way it feels. But I pretty much grab anything that's in my shop most of the time. I got a lot of different probes. So I'm testing everything every day, all kinds of different ways, mixes and matches, just to make sure it all works. So, but those are nice just because they're compact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the batteries seem to last forever in them.
I don't want to hog you here. I have another question, then I'm sure Joe has like 100 questions for you.
Go for it.
I was wondering about the non-invasive test on MeasureQuick.
Yeah.
How do you guys what parameters do you use to get to where you're going with it, and how accurate is it versus, actually hooking up probes?
So, I mean, it's very accurate. We're getting ready to release cloud storage. In fact, I got the guys Saturday. We're going to roll 20,000 users over into cloud storage capability. And what that allows us to do is actually benchmark a system and then save the data to the cloud. And that'll make the non-invasive extremely accurate. So the way non-invasive works is it's all on design temperature differences. So by design, I don't know if you remember the old Sporlan temperature pressure charts. It used to tell you, evaporator TDs on the chart. There's this whole little thing. It told you box temperature and evaporator TD. And so it would tell you on there the evaporator is 10 degrees colder than the return air, 15 degrees colder than return air. And that was all about humidity management. So back when I was teaching school, there was a book on refrigeration air conditioning technology. There's a whole chapter in there on typical operating conditions. And I was looking at that Sporlan chart and I applied that same rules to air conditioning. And it was like, oh, holy cow, this works. And so by design, an air conditioner coil at 400 CFM per ton is 35 degrees colder than the return air. So if it's simply, here's how it works. If it's 75-degree room and the coil is 35 degrees colder, 75 minus 35 is a 40-degree coil. And if I have 10 degrees target superheat, 40 degrees plus 10, I should have a 50-degree suction line, right? Mm-hmm. And then by design, if you look at condensers, I don't know if you remember, like you guys are probably too young. I'm probably the oldest guy in the room here, but back when I was in school, it was like, it was the outdoor air plus 30. And now it's like outdoor air plus 25 or outdoor air plus 20 or even 15. Lennox has even gone to 10. So let's say it's 20 degrees. So if it's 80 degrees outside plus 20, design temperature difference would be 100-degree condensing temp minus the subcooling target. Let's say that's 8. So it'd be 92-degree liquid line plus or minus 3 degrees. So it's just all about knowing the design temperature differences. But the key thing was with benchmarking is because we have adjustable airflow on the inside, that's going to drive your coil temp. So it could be slightly warmer or slightly cooler, depending on how close your actual airflow is to your target. So because we're switching over to ECMs today, in ECMs, you can nail your airflow on. Design temperature differences are usually spot on as long as you're, at that 35 or 30 or 40, depending on what your evaporator fan speed is, whether it's 350, 400, or 450 CFM per ton. But once you benchmark it, what we do in benchmarking is record the exact design temperature difference. And once we have that, anytime you go out after that, after you benchmark the system, you'll be able to pull that data down out of the cloud. And then the non-invasive test, because I know exactly what the design temperature difference was for the evaporator, exactly what it was for the condenser. Now I can be extremely precise in my liquid and suction line temperature, and then also my diagnostics. So that's the big deal with benchmarking. That's why we wanted to get that up there, and that way everybody in your company has exactly the same benchmark. So if you got 20 guys in your company, no matter who comes out, when they hit that job site, they pull that job down. We're telling you the exact design temperature differences for that piece of equipment, the exact target superheat, the exact target subcooling, so that everybody's starting from the same place all the time and nobody's making assumptions how it works. And if you're doing like heat loss calculations in your company, like actually doing manual J and then doing equipment selection, that kind of stuff, and you actually set up the equipment the way you engineered it, then your guys in your company don't have to guess, is this engineered for high latent load or standard latent or all sensible cooling? It makes it really easy.
It seems like it would save a lot of time. You spend a little bit initially on a job, and then indefinitely you could save a lot of time going back.
Well, the time you spend initially, you got to spend regardless, right? So, I mean, you have to get the charge right. You have to get the airflow right initially, period. But I can test the system with non-invasive in the amount of time it takes the system to stabilize. So if it's running, I can literally clamp my probes on there and tell you immediately if it's running right. If it's not running, I might have to wait 5 minutes to 7 minutes for the thing to stabilize. But MeasureQuick also has a stability algorithm built in, so we don't have to wait 10 minutes. It might take 2 minutes because it may have just run 10 minutes ago and the coil's still cold and it's still got a little bit of a delta T across or whatever. We can, as quickly as the system stabilizes, I can tell you if it's running right and if it's charged right and all that kind of stuff. So it's literally, typically you can do 10 minutes and you know if you're in good shape or not. So like for PMs, it's pretty awesome. And then you can spend the time doing things you should be doing, like checking electrical connections to make sure they're good. Because we're also doing, a lot of people don't realize we're doing electrical diagnostics also with redfish meter. So we're looking at power factor. If the power factor is less than 0.96, pretty much means you got some capacitor problems, things like that on the condenser. So we're running electrical health, but obviously you got to check, across, look at your contactor, make sure your contactor's in good shape. And then the rest of it, typically what guys don't realize is like 99% of what HVAC technicians should be doing is cleaning the evaporator, cleaning the condenser, checking the blower wheel, cleaning the filter or changing the filter. It's maintenance stuff. We tend to want to hook up our gauges first instead of doing what we should do, which is, checking the maintenance of the equipment. Getting that wrapped up.
It's funny how years are going by. It's getting easier and easier and easier for the new guy coming in. I'm pretty sure when you were younger, heck, the old timers probably didn't even calculate superheat.
No, that's because we were created ice back then.
It's crazy how we're going. Years go by, and it's just everything's getting easier and easier for the new guy. It's awesome.
Well, but the equipment's getting more complicated too. I mean,
that's true. More complex, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at the VRF systems, and you look at, I don't know, it's gotten a lot more critical when you're looking at things like microchannel. You don't have, it can be plus or minus a half pound. It doesn't matter. With microchannel, you're talking a couple ounces now.
Yeah.
So,
years ago when I was first kind of learning with my dad, I remember Brian Orr bringing this up, that there was like a rule of thumb back in the day that you look at the condenser temperature, the saturated temperature on the high side, and you add like whatever, I don't even remember what it is anymore, 22 degrees, or what was it? What was it?
CTO, condensing temp over ambient.
Yeah. So and honestly, I've checked that a couple times on older units, and it's fairly close, and it kind of blows my mind.
That's what I was telling you. That's exactly how MeasureQuick calculates with the non-invasive test. So it's outdoor air temperature plus 25, right? Let's say on a 10 SEER. So, that 75 degrees plus 25 is 100-degree condensing temp. Only the next step we're doing is we're saying, okay, the liquid line is going to be 10 degrees colder than the condensing temp. Right, because it's 10 degrees of subcooling, so that means it's 10 degrees below the condensing temp. So what you're looking at, the first step your dad was showing you is here's our target condensing pressure. Now I'm taking it one step further and saying, okay, here's my target liquid line temperature if I know my subcooling target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
amazing, really.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, I think it's crazy just how far we've come, and just I don't know the past 10 years. Imagine 20 years from now, what we'll have, just with the way technology's advancing and systems getting more and more complex. I mean, it's growing fast.
It is.
I remember, I know you're not associated with iManifold anymore, but I did see, which I was wondering if you've heard from any of the other manufacturers if they're going this way. I heard they're developing, or maybe they have it already, some probes or whatnot that you actually leave behind on the equipment, and then it will shoot data off to you. And you could basically check a system over the internet or whatever.
We're actually doing some stuff like that on today. I mean, I'm actually flying out Sunday to go to a pilot with Emerson Climate. There's a product called Sensi Predict, SENSI, Sensi Predict, and it actually uses a set of 10 sensors. So it's got liquid line temperature, suction line temperature. It's got the outdoor air temperature, the condensing voltage and amperage, the evaporator fan voltage and amperage. And it takes all those readings and it continually monitors the system. And so basically the reason we're working together is to use MeasureQuick to benchmark the system, to actually make sure it's all running right. And then Emerson, their sensors continually monitor it and look for changes in the operation. So it's going to really, what they're doing with it's called predictive maintenance. So instead of doing a truck roll 2 times a year, let's say, you don't do a truck roll at all. And what what the Sensi product does is it notifies the homeowner and it notifies the contractor that, let's say, the power factor shifted from 1.0 to 0.84, and it knows definitively the cap went bad. Or it can tell you, like, if the head pressure is gradually rising, the condenser fan motor is starting to slow down, the bearings are going bad in the condenser fan motor. Or it'll tell you when the filter is going bad, or a slew of other things. Probably, I don't know, we're doing almost 150 problems in MeasureQuick today, and I don't know how many Sensi does. It does quite a few, but they can be very, very granular in their diagnostics. It's pretty amazing. So we've been working with them on that for about a year now. We're getting ready to roll that out to across the country, and so you'll see that with MeasureQuick here shortly. And I'm not sure what MPI is doing anymore. I don't even really follow iManifold too much anymore, just because it doesn't really interest me that much. So, but the thing is that those types of systems, they have to be, they can't be cost prohibitive. So the thing that's really cool with the solution that Emerson's got is, I think it's less than $500 installed for the homeowner, and then it's like $50 a year or so to monitor your system. And so it's cheaper than a truck roll. And the cool thing is that every call then becomes a billable call, because you're not going out there to, how many times you guys gone out there to go do a PM and there's like nothing to do. It's like the system's already clean. You're out there screwing around with your meter, just looking like you're doing something or whatever. And the system's really in pretty good shape, and you're probably going to do more damage than good by putting your gauges on the machine because it's 60 degrees outside or whatever. So the whole idea behind the Sensi thing is that the only time you go out is when there's something physically wrong with the equipment, and then every call is a billable call. And then at a granular reason, we know exactly what's wrong, so you know what part to bring out with you before you even get to the job. And then we can set it up again with MeasureQuick when we're done, and then it continues to monitor as it goes. So it's pretty slick.
I think that's an awesome idea, and it's great that Adam brought it up, because I deal with a lot of package units, Strasco package units. I don't know if you heard of them. Pretty sure you have. Mm-hmm. And they have something called Web Sentry. So I have all the customer reports, all their sensors, all the report of the whole system. I could restart the system from my phone. I could monitor it, see my differentials, see why it's doing this, and I could just look at my temperatures and kind of get the idea. Then go to the house and it's a global call.
Yeah, but the cool thing is with what we're doing is like the next step now. So you got to evaluate it, we're using what they call big data now to learn or artificial intelligence to actually learn what these systems are doing, and then point the tech in the right direction. So it's and it's really not about replacing the technician and just being able to send the part changer out or whatever. I mean, it's about eliminating additional truck rolls, because a lot of technicians don't realize it, but it's typically $250 to $400 to roll a truck out to a house to actually do the service work, whether you make any money or not. So like when they're doing tune-ups and stuff, those are loss leaders. That's about making sure you get the equipment replacement when it's time to replace it. It's not about making money. Maybe it's about keeping techs busy a little bit time of the year. But when you look at what you got to realize when you're running a service company is that everybody in that office is an overhead cost. They're not bringing in any cash. The only person bringing in cash is the technician. So you got to add up everybody's salaries in the office, all the insurance you got to have, all the parts, all the vacation hours, all the uniforms, all that other stuff, and then you divide it by the hour, what it costs, overhead costs are, and then the technician cost and the truck cost, and then you can figure out what your hourly rate is. And a lot of guys just don't, they don't get that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna hit a couple of these questions from the chat, Jim.
Good idea.
Let's talk about the combustion analyzer. That's a good one. I know you're going to ask me about that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So that's been an interesting project. That was actually the hardest integration in MeasureQuick. I mean, by far, but way harder than anything else we'd ever done, because it does so much. When you're looking at combustion analyzer, it's not like it just reads temperature, just reads pressure, like the smart probes. I mean, it does obviously manometer, the thermometers, differential temperature, CO2, O2, and then all the calculations it does behind it. And then starting the analyzer, stopping the analyzer, switching the modes. You don't think about, you got to switch the mode to differential temperature, switch the mode to pressure, switch the mode to whatever. And it took forever to get that done. And then the other tricky thing was connection, getting it to like we're really big on Measure Quick. I don't know if you guys ever noticed how the Bluetooth connections in Measure Quick tend to work better than any of the parent apps that come with products. So, like when you connect or lose connection or reconnect, or even things like people don't realize. I just got a call from somebody who's been using Measure Quick for over a year today. They're like, hey, I noticed that when I get far away from my liquid line and my pressure probes, they drop out right away. But when I get far away from my return air temperature and supply air temperature probes, they hold in there for a while. What the heck's wrong with your software? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it. That's the way we designed it. Because return air temperature and supply air temperature don't change that fast. So we know if you walk around the house or whatever and you lose connection for 20 seconds, we don't really care about it because 20 seconds later, it's going to be about exactly the same temperature. Yeah. But if you lose your pressure for 20 seconds or 30 seconds or your temperature, man, you could overcharge the system. So we prioritize things and hold data, and so that it makes the user experience a lot better. So when we were working with a combustion analyzer, we really wanted the best user experience you could get, because it was the first AccuTools let us connect that in. We didn't have, when we talked to Testo and BacRack, and BacRack gave us a QR code, which is cool, and Testo gave us, app to app, but being able to tie in all the readings live into Measure Quick just changed the game for combustion, because now we're doing also diagnostics with that, and we can see trends with it. So we can look for rising COs or falling O2s or, draft issues or things like that. So I've actually got a whole slew of, we have the top level diagnostics in, but I've actually got more complex diagnostics coming in right behind that are based upon all the readings. So we've still got more planned for that analyzer, but that analyzer is it's very compact too. It's like the size of a smartphone. So it's really, really small. It's got a touchscreen display, but you can control everything from the apps. You don't have to mess with the touchscreen on it. And then the other thing I really like about it is it doesn't have all the proprietary connections on it. So it's you just plug the hoses into it, you plug the K-type thermocouples into it, and you're good to go, which really makes it nice because you can measure draft with it, you can measure gas pressure with it, you can measure total external static pressure with it, pressure up across coils or filters, you can measure your CAS pressure with it, you can do your differential temperature with two cheap K-type thermometers if you want to do the temperature rise across the furnace. So it's we made it into a furnace commissioning tool rather than just a combustion analyzer. So we leveraged every bit of that thing to really make it, a really powerful tool for use of Measure Quick for setting up furnaces. And the people that have bought it absolutely love it. It's been a really good product for us so far. As far as a Measure Quick tool, I think on heating, it's by far the best heating product we got. And I think it was really cool too. You pair it up with a Testo 905Is, which are the temperature probes, and then I can use 4 manometers, so I could do return air static, supply air static, draft, and even I can do incoming gas pressure and manifold pressure all at the same time. Wow. So when I start the furnace up, I literally hook up all my probes. I flip the furnace on, go outside and clock the meter. By the time I come in and clock the meter, the furnace temperature rise is stabilized, and I can either adjust my fuel pressure or I'm pretty well done at that point. It's you're not running the thing for 30, 40 minutes overheating the house where you're screwing around, now I got to check. First, I got to check my manifold pressure. I got that adjusted right. Now I got to recheck my temperature rise, whatever. It's it's all done in one fell swoop. So, and that to me is probably the coolest thing is when we're able to pair all these tools in together, how fast you can do something. So there's a little upfront cost. Obviously, you buy 4 manometers, they aren't free, but the time savings and the convenience and just to me, the wow factor is pretty friggin' awesome.
So, When I first bought, I bought the my first combustion analyzer was the Bacharach Insight Plus,
Yeah.
and the first time I ever used it, I tried playing around with it by watching your videos and that, and I really didn't know what I was looking at, to be honest with you. I took a couple classes, I had a better idea, and then I found a printout from NCI. Now my question to you is, with this combustion analyzer using MeasureQuick, does it actually put you in range like it does with everything else, where it says, hey, we're pretty good here, we're pretty good there?
Oh yeah, it's got all the targets built in, and
That's awesome.
it's built in by appliance too. So you tell it whether you got a 70, an 80, and 90. It also does multiple cells. So a lot of guys don't realize, like on a 70, if it's got 4 cells, you got to do 4 combustion tests because each cell operates independently. So you got to test them independently. And so we have that all built in. So, and then when you tell it what the appliance is, it automatically adjusts for the stack temperature, the expected O2, the expected CO2, temperature rise, all that stuff's all built into the into MeasureQuick now. So, and then with your Bacharach, it's got, if you open up the data sharing tools, if you scroll down to the bottom there under data sharing tools, there's the Bacharach QR code scanner. And then when you get your combustion test all done, if you hit the right button, the right hand arrow on your combustion analyzer, it'll pull up a QR code. And if you scan that QR code, it pops all the data into MeasureQuick and it'll run a diagnostic on it or pull it in for reporting or whatever.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So you don't have to buy a new combustion analyzer just because, although, you could, I'm sure AccuTools would love that, but I mean, you got a solution, already.
Now, this is I don't know if I'm out in left field asking this question or not, but I've always kind of wondered, what is your affiliation? Do you actually have some kind of with AccuTools? I mean, how does that work out? Because I see, obviously, you promote AccuTools all the time.
Yeah. We got a marketing agreement with AccuTools. So I help them with marketing their products. And they were one of the first MeasureQuick partners. So, if you watch MeasureQuick, we actually did the BlueVac before we did the BlueVac came out before we even did MeasureQuick. So when software development takes years and it's extremely expensive, and we've got literally, it's sort of funny because people don't realize we literally have millions of dollars invested into MeasureQuick. I mean, our programming team was 19 people at the peak when we first started doing a lot of the core programming. Now we're down to about 6 people that are doing the programming, but it's literally millions of dollars and years of doing the work. So we were looking around when we got started. I'm like, okay, I got to bring some cash in the door because we're not going to be ready with MeasureQuick. So we started, when I owned TrueTech, I had a lot of relationships in the industry. I just started reaching out to people I knew, and AccuTools had some of the best vacuum products. And I was thinking, vacuum's a pretty untapped market. And I sat down and worked with Dennis and Cornell, and I'm like, let's get your gauges. We'll put Bluetooth radios in them. You guys do that. If you guys do that, then we'll build the app out for you, and we'll help you get this thing promoted and rolling. So they've been a great partner for us, all along, because it's provided us some cash in the door, and it's to get the programming done, and it's helped them to, grow their brand and stuff. Because I don't know if a lot of you guys realize, but AccuTools, if you remember back, they had the BlueVac out there. It was sort of their house brand, but they contract manufactured their gauges. So I think UEI had them at one time, and I know Yellow Jacket had them at one time. Mm-hmm. So you'll see some private label versions of them. And they were at a point where they're like, hey, man, we're tired of building this shit for everybody and nobody knowing what to do with it, because Dennis had some really cool technology, but the market, the people that he was selling it to, they didn't appreciate it or know how to sell it. And so he was just getting frustrated because they're like, oh, your vacuum gauge doesn't work right or whatever. And he's like, no, it's perfect. You guys just don't know how to sell it. So we helped them to get it to market and get their brand, get the AccuTools brand out of the contract manufacturing and into the marketplace as a mainline brand. So
you're the reason why I bought the Professional Plus Micron gauge. And I actually bought the kit. It came originally before the what are they? The True Blue hoses.
The True Blue hoses, yeah.
They had a kit on TrueTech Tools with the Appian set, and I picked it up. I spent the money on it, and then 2 months went by, and then AccuTools I started seeing videos on them. I'm like, oh, I wish I would.
Yeah, there's a there's a big difference in the hoses themselves, and I think Zach's done some testing on those. I mean, you've seen it all online. I mean, it's what it is the hose is just it's engineered for vacuum, so it pulls a lot deeper vacuum. You don't like all the work the vacuum pump's doing gets transferred to the end of the hose. And what the market did was pretty interesting. You know, when Appian first came out with those hoses, it's the reason that they even came into existence is because they came out with a TES 8 vacuum pump. And they built this TES 8, and they're all proud about how great the TES 8 pump was. People were buying it, and they're comparing it to their 3 CFM pump, and they're going, it doesn't work any faster. And it all came down to conductance speed of the hoses. So they were figuring out everybody's hooking up a 1/4-inch hose to this thing, and they're choking it down to 0.7 CFM. Dave Boyd actually found the book on I think it was his father's book, if I remember right. And it came from Thermal Engineering, which was a company I was working for in my career. Thermal Engineering was out of Toledo, and they actually wrote the book on vacuum. That's Review of Vacuum for Service Engineers. So Appian found that book, and they were ones that really like reintroduced some of the stuff to the industry. So I got to give them credit where credit's due, because they were the ones that really, first of all, said, wow, okay, we got a problem with the hoses. They came out with a MegaFlow hose set. And they did some really crazy stuff like the gauge set. I don't know if you guys remember, they had this giant honking gauge set with a vacuum rated manifold. It's like, who the hell is going to charge with 1/2-inch hoses on there? I mean, that when I worked for TruTech, we yanked that manifold off, and I just bought a brass tees, and I'm like, actually, I designed that MegaFlow kit for TruTech, the one that they sold when I was there. So this is a product I was pretty passionate about. So I went over to the guys at AccuTools. I'm like, listen, everybody's just taken and used repurposed refrigerant hoses, and they're completely the wrong hose. When I was working at Thermal, everything we had in there was these spring reinforced vinyl tubing. And I'm like, there's something going on there. So there's a reason they're using this stuff. And I didn't really know it. Aside from the larger conductance speed, I wasn't really sure what it was. But we took that hose, and I sampled about a dozen different hoses till we found the right one, because there's actually a lot to do with the outgassing and water adhesion properties. And there's a lot of properties of hose. We didn't realize how important that was till we started testing different ones and saw which ones worked better. And that was really the birth of the True Blue hose. And then I actually got a patent on the O-ring design for that. So that centering ring you guys see, like when we connect two fittings together, that thing I was putting together kept falling out of my hands and ticking me off. So I'm like, can we just incorporate this thing into the hose end? And so I designed that hose end for them. And then, that's the rest of the story. I mean, we just went from there, and it's been a great product for the industry. I mean, it actually amazed me the first time I put it up to a system, because it went so darn fast. I mean, it's been a game changer, been a great product for AccuTools. Like I said, they've been they've been great to work with the last couple of years.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, Jim, one more question.
All right.
What's your favorite HVAC book?
I really like Review of Vacuum for Service Engineers a lot. Textbook wise, I still like Refrigeration Air Conditioning Technology. That's a great book. But I buy a bunch of books from the 30s, 40s, and 50s that have all the old science in there that explains how this stuff actually works, because we've forgotten more than we've ever learned.
Right.
I mean, when you think about what we did with vacuum, that was in the 50s, right? And that's not new technology. I mean, Appian didn't invent oversized hoses. They discovered what Thermal Engineering knew 50 years ago. It's just it never got communicated to HVAC service techs. If you guys stop and think for a minute, back in the 70s, everything had air-equipped fittings. It was all charged from the factory. So you bought a charged condenser, a charged line set, and a charged coil. You connected it in the field. It was already pre-charged, pre-evacuated. And it wasn't until, maybe the late 70s, early 80s that we started assembling them and evacuating them. So between the 50s and the 80s, nobody did much service work or evacuation. And so that whole knowledge base was lost. And literally all we did was just reintroduce it, to the industry again. And then we, Appion really, like I said, they reintroduced it, and then we perfected it with the True Blue hoses. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
If you haven't, Adam, have you downloaded that AccuTools combustion guide?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Go to AccuTools, let me see where it's at real quick. And there is on their. I just got to dig it up real quick. Find it on their site here. There's a free combustion. I think if you just type in AccuTools and combustion guide, it'll take you right to the page if you just type that into Google.
Okay.
But there is a combustion guide I put together. It's a free download, and you can put it on a digital copy in your. In fact, if you go to products, I think, and you just go to the combustion analyzer, there's a link right from the combustion analyzer on that page. And even if you don't own the combustion analyzer, the quick start guide is universal. You can use it with Testo, Fieldpiece, whoever's. But click that, you download that guide, and I put this together about, a year ago, but it covers everything from a 70% AFUE furnace all the way through 90 pluses, all the CAS testing, clocking the meter, combustion analysis. It's like, like 16 pages or so. I can't remember how long it is, but it's a great combustion primer if you need help with combustion analysis.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm on the page right now.
Yeah, so that's something to just go to AccuTools combustion analyzer page, and then there's a link and you can just download it. And I usually put that on my tablet. And have you ever done split screen on a tablet where you can open up two apps side by side?
Yep.
On like an iPad? So I'll have that. I actually put that guide up all the time when I'm doing furnace testing or whatever. I flip to the page that I want to have it on, and then have the Blue Flame app open or the MeasureQuick app open, and do the combustion testing. And it's just handy, like if you're going to show a homeowner or whatever, here's how your furnace should run, explain anything to them. It's got really great graphics, and it's also just got all the typical combustion readings.
Now, what's your feelings? I'm sorry, I know that it was the last question. We have to play our game, give away some prizes now, but I just have to ask you one last question. You made a video, I don't know, it's got to be 2, 3, maybe even 4 years ago, on basically, I think it was a combustion video. It had to have been a combustion video. And you showed how to properly set up a furnace, and you actually drilled furnaces and all that. Now, my question to you is, theoretically, you could probably just turn up the gas pressure a little bit, but I was doing a combustion test, starting up a furnace, and the readings were slightly off. So I had a conversation a couple weeks later with somebody from Train, and I said, what would be your preference? Me setting the gas pressure a little bit higher, whatever, 3.75, whatever it is, or drill the orifices? They're like, no.
Never.
You need to set it at 3.5 no matter what. That's where you need to be at. And I'm like, well, it's not running at the percentage of efficiency that it's rated at, and that's how they left it. They're like, we want it to be 3.5 all across the country no matter what. But you don't, if you have a 95% efficient furnace, it might not necessarily be running at 95% efficiency, right?
Yeah, well, so there are, I guess the best way of saying there are uneducated people everywhere. Okay. So in fact, I can show you on a high label that today on a high label, it'll tell you that you can go from 3.2 to 3.8 inches of water column. It'll tell you right on the label that 3.2 to 3.8 inches, you can adjust it in. There's a span there, and most manuals will tell you plus or minus 10% on the fuel pressure. So 3.2 to 3.8 inches is very, very common on there. And the reason is because heat content across the country varies. And so, but when I typically buy the right orifices, I don't typically drill the orifices out. I go and just buy the right set, because you can go there, orifices are, they carry them right at the supply house. Sometimes they got to order them, but not very often. But once you especially if you put in a Branda furnace, you'll start to find out all of them are underfired, and you'll know exactly what orifices to buy. You just buy the orifices and you just swap them out as part of the startup. Not really critical on 80 plus appliances, because a little excess air is not going to make that much difference. You might pick up a 1% efficiency, and for an 80 plus, it's not even, just get it. If you got to dial it up to 3.8 or dial it down a little bit to get the input correct, it's probably close enough as good enough. But on a 90 plus, if you're talking like a 97% efficient furnace, you've got to nail the input. Otherwise, you're going to turn it into a 90% non-condensing appliance or into a CO monster, because they are critically, the input's critical on those. And the very first thing they do, if you go to like the Canadian CSA labs, the very first thing they do when those furnaces come in, they pull the orifices out. They put the right orifices in for the heat content of the CSA lab gas, which they have giant buffer tanks of gas, and they test the furnace at the correct input. Every furnace needs to have correct input. That's why there's a clocking the meter section on your app. It tells you clock the meter, or not on the app, but also in your manual. It tells you clock the meter, get the input correct, and then set the temperature rise of the furnace. So, the guy that you're talking to just didn't read the manual. But most people, when talk about drilling out orifices, they freak out a little bit, because realistically, you should have a hone set, which is like, you might drill out the orifice, but a drill does not make a round hole. It makes an oblong shaped hole, and you should have what's called a reamer to ream it out to exactly the right size if you want to do it precisely. The best thing to do is to buy the right size orifices.
Are we? Yeah, exactly. Because we're talking maybe 0.008 like millimeters, like really fine.
Yeah, tens of thousands of an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. We could go on forever with you, Jim. It's been awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for having me out, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully you'll come back again in the future.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
Awesome, Jim. Thanks.
Have a good night.
Night.
Okay.
Awesome.
Without further ado.
Yeah.
Without further ado,
Cowboy quiz time.
Let's do it.
I think Zach's in the bathroom.
What's this guy doing?
You want that. Great.
That was great.
All right. So we've changed up the quiz a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let Adam explain, because I think he'll do a better job explaining this. So, Adam, you will go ahead and explain to everybody.
We're trying to streamline this, make it easier for people to like. I think it's been fairly easy for people to win prizes so far.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to make it a little bit like more tiered, I guess. So anyone that calls in, we will have a prize, right? There's going to be level 1 prize, level 2, and level 3. We're going to ask you a question about last week's video, and if you answer it correctly, you'll win the prize. Now, unlike on Zach's show, not the skilled trade up. Well, unlike the skilled trade up, you don't have to trade your prize in. We'll ask you a second question. If you answer that correctly, you'll win a second prize, getting to keep the first prize. And then we'll ask you the third question, and you get the grand prize. So it should be easy to win the first round of prizes, whoever calls it.
Yeah.
Period.
So you can win more than one prize, essentially.
You could win 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We try to make it better. Well, not. You know what? Just go. Let's do it.
Well, and one other thing to clear up is, once we have a grand prize winner, once somebody wins that level 3 prize, the game's over. That's it for the night.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh no.
Zach can't hear you.
What?
Zach.
There you go. You can hear me now.
Yeah.
He's
Keep-
right.
There's a
Fiddle
lot of
with
buttons
the
here,
button.
bro. I've never been surrounded by so many buttons in my life.
Nice intro.
All right. We ready to do this?
Let's do this.
All right. First caller.
We already
First
have a caller calling, so here you go. You're on the air.
Caller. Who is it?
Who is
Who
it?
is this?
Susie, yeah.
Susie, what's up?
How you doing?
Awesome.
All right.
Wait.
What?
What is she playing for, Zach?
Well, Adam, I'm glad you asked that. I'm going to tell you right now. Here's what Susie is playing for. Wait a second. It's a brand new Klein, 11-1.
Awesome.
Very good.
All right, Susie, you ready for question one?
Yep.
Sorry, people are saying they can't hear Zach.
They should be able to hear her. Everything
Okay.
is turned up and ready to roll. Let's try this. Hey, Susie, say,
Yeah.
I love HVAC Overtime.
I like HVAC Overtime.
Well, there you go. There she is. She's fine.
Okay, yeah, they said we can now. Okay. What brand of rust penetrator did he use on the shaft of the motor?
It's the same one he always used, that Buster stuff. No, not. I have to watch it as usual.
At least you're honest, Susie. At least you're honest.
Yep. It's like the Zoom Buster or something.
Close.
You're so close.
One more guess.
He always uses the same kind. I think he has stock in it.
Ted will be driving to my house tonight. And
Yeah. I think that's close enough.
No, we can't make close enough is not good enough.
Joe's trying to get me fired.
Yeah.
It's Zoom.
Do what?
It's like Zoom or Zip.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night. Great show tonight.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
I tried.
Oh, we have another caller already.
Quit giving away prizes for wrong answers, Joe.
He's so Canadian.
I
He
know.
just wants to be nice to everyone.
You're on the air.
Hey guys, it's Rookie.
Hey, rookie.
Rookie.
Hey,
What's going on, guys? Great show, by the way.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. All right, you ready?
All right, Justin, hit me.
All right. What horsepower was the blower motor?
He put in a half a horsepower.
That's right.
Finally, I win one.
All right. I think Rookie thought that I hated him because every time I asked him a question, it was wrong. He's like, I want to stop talking to this guy. I'm going to quit calling him.
I know Justin has something against me.
I swear I did, man. I swear. All right, man. So you got the 11-1. Awesome.
Right on.
All right. Let's go to question 2.
Zach, what is he playing for?
well, thank you, Adam, for asking. Here's what he's playing for. Yellow Jacket Hoses.
Awesome.
Cool.
Right on.
Dun, dun.
All right, man. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's see.
Right on cue, Joe.
And I will say the chat's turned off right now, guys. So guys in the chat, don't be frustrated. It's turned off.
All right. For what reason did the homeowner previously replace the downstairs system?
Because they had a flood.
That is correct.
Rookie ain't screwing around this time.
Right
Yeah,
on.
right,
Yeah,
right.
I took notes this time, so I
Oh.
wouldn't forget anything.
Oh, man. Man.
He
I shouldn't have said that. Now
ate
Justin's gonna find the hardest question he can for me.
How many screws were in the unit? Yeah.
No.
Oh man! All right, Zach, you want to tell him what prize number 3 is?
I absolutely do, Justin. Thank you for asking. Here it is.
Sagging his buttons.
It's the Testo Smart Probes. Wow.
Wow.
Not like the ones pictured.
So, Rookie, if you get this question right, you're going to be happy because you got the smart probes, but then nobody else gets to play tonight.
Oh, what kind of pressure is that?
And then the show ends on time.
Hey, look at that. It's destiny.
Yeah, it's destiny. You got to get this, Rookie. It's always fair. You've missed out like what, 2 or 3 times, something like that.
Yeah.
You're making up for it right now. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Trying to think which number 3 question I want to ask you.
He skipped school this week, Justin. He took notes all week.
Took notes all week.
Pick and choose.
Well,
your
I couldn't go to work. I don't know if you guys know there's huge fires in California, so I got stuck with no power on.
Isn't there always huge fires in California? That seems like it's happening.
And they turn our
all the
power
time.
off, so I only have my cell phone on a battery right now talking to you guys.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, thanks.
Okay. Here we go. What brand media filter cabinet was on the system?
That was a Tricon Air Bear.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
He got it.
Yeah. That wasn't that hard.
Finally,
Justin. Good
right
call,
on,
Justin.
guys. Justin felt bad for me, so he threw me a bone.
Yeah. Honestly, I was trying to stump you with the third one because I didn't figure a lot of people paid attention to what brand cabinet media filter was on there, but you was right.
Dude, I wrote down everything he said, everything he looked at.
Cool, man. Well, congratulations. You
Thanks, guys.
You hit a home run tonight.
For real.
It'll
Make
go
sure
good with
you,
my gift card I got last week.
Send us an email.
Maybe I can get some stickers too, Adam, huh?
Well, from what flavor sticker would you like?
We got
How about your
3.
sticker?
Oh, the A-Team sticker? I'll send you one.
You should be doing that
All right,
already.
thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Again, thanks for the good show.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Have a good
All
weekend.
right, bye.
Well,
Rookie just took it all, bud.
Yeah. He deserves it though. He called twice and got stumped. So
He was on it tonight, man.
he was.
I
He
hope
would
you're-
do.
He
I
killed it.
hope your level 3 was difficult enough.
Do what?
Nothing.
Hey, wait, they're previously approved, right?
They were
Yep.
previously approved questions.
Well, then
That might seem like an easy question, but how many guys are really paying attention to the name on the cabinet of the media filter when watching that? There's so much other stuff going on. That's the last thing you look at. You have to really be paying attention and take notes to notice that.
I would take notes.
I wouldn't have known that even if I did the service call. I'd be like, what cabinet was on there? I don't know.
I know, right?
Oh, man.
Oh, that's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's so funny. They just knocked it out of the park. Ted,
Yeah.
these questions, man, what's wrong with them?
That's the whole probes are going flying out the window.
We need to get a game over sound.
I'm gonna
And one
add
of
some
your-
sounds. I'm gonna add some sounds for sure.
Zach just bought 400 buttons.
I did. I wish I could hold it up to the camera. Hey, wait, I think I could probably do that. Hold on. You see it? There's a lot of them.
That's cool.
That's just the one computer.
Oh, that's only half of them, Joe.
Man, oh man.
Oh, awesome. It's been a good show.
So hopefully everybody in the chat understands how the game works now. So
Pretty straightforward, I think.
yeah, it's
You
pretty
win.
straightforward.
You can win more than one prize. You can win
Yeah.
3.
Kidding. Do your homework. You can get 3 different prizes instead of just 1.
Yep.
So cool. All right. So I was going to announce the video for next week real quick while I'm thinking about it.
Awesome.
All right. Video for next week's questions is titled Linux to Train Changeout with 20 SEER Zoning. was published May the 1st, 2017. Again, that's Linux to train changeout with 20 SEER zoning, May 1st, 2017. What are you doing over there?
It's in the description too, and it's probably not NorCal video.
Yeah.
That was so stupid.
Watch it. Give Ted the likes. He's a big
Yeah,
part of this.
he helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
Hit the thumbs up on our show right now if you wouldn't mind, and do the same on Ted's videos.
No doubt.
Helps it grow.
It helps it grow.
Yep.
Mm.
I haven't heard of any channel that gives away these many prizes, during the week. It's awesome.
I like he threw in during the week, so I didn't say anything because mine's on the weekend.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, and the weekend.
Hey, but we're all on the same channel, so this is a really awesome channel if you think about it.
Exactly, right? Exactly. But yeah, thanks for all the super chat, guys. That's awesome. I didn't want to say nothing when Jim was here because I was just too focused on Jim. But
Honestly, we could probably do like a 3-hour segment with him.
oh yeah,
Keep going,
like we wouldn't go. We were just talking about instruments. Like we could have went technical and talk about another avenue. Like he's been cool. I'm pretty sure we'll get him on again sooner than later.
Lee Adam does look cold. He's got his boggin on over there. He's freezing to death.
It's cold outside.
You're not outside.
I'm in the garage.
You're right. Turn that furnace on.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what it's like when Rookie won. When you're watching a pay-per-view, let's say a fight. You're watching a fight, a UFC fight on TV, and it's coming to that hour mark or 2-hour mark, and it's going to end quick because it's like a couple minutes to the deadline. Well, it was almost like Rookie. It was like that 1 hour mark, and you knew he was going to win the big bang. It was going to be over.
Or you could also look at it like it's a pay-per-view fight, and the bell rings. It's like, ding, it's getting ready to start right now. The guy comes out and knocks him out in one hit. And it's like, it's over.
That's exactly right.
So
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That was good.
Choose your buttons wisely.
yeah, you're gonna make my questions even harder. Ted's gonna fire me. Ted's probably watching the show right now going, what the crap is this?
Yeah.
Yep.
I can hear it now. I was tired when you sent me those questions. I didn't realize they were that easy. Now you'll do fine. Those questions were hard, man. I mean, he just got them, man. He was just ready to play.
Honestly, I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He wanted to win. He was not going to be a 3-time loser.
That's
No
right.
way.
Now I wonder if maybe he could answer in the chat. Did you watch the video one time, or did you go over it multiple times and take more notes as you went through? That's my question.
Oh, he went through it more than once, but you know it.
What's the guess? How many times did he watch it? What do you think? I'd say 5 times.
5? Let's say, yeah, that's a good number there. What's the over under, guys? 5 is the over under.
Say 3.
3?
I'm gonna say he only watched it twice, but he paused it periodically and was just writing random stuff down. Like everything that was on the screen, he's writing it down. Everything he was talking about, he wrote it down.
I hope he's still here.
Yeah, he's here. He just did a super chat, which is great. Awesome. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2 times.
We had to wait in silence until he answers.
Oh, he's not.
Twice, but I had seen it before, so 3.
I won.
No,
man.
technically, he only watched it twice this time. Just because you watched it in the past don't count.
All
All right, awesome. Good show.
Well, Joe,
Yeah,
it's your turn.
Oh yeah.
my turn, eh? Well, guys and gals, tune in next week for great giveaways and a great show.
Is it going to be great, though?
Yeah.
It is.
Boiler talk?
That's right, Justin. We got Justin saying that. We got Curtis saying that. Kangaroo Guy.
I've heard it about 100 times in the chat. Everybody wants to talk about boilers.
It's the season.
All we heard is that nobody wants to hear boilers. Don't talk about boilers, Joe and Adam. Don't do it.
I'm leaving you on so you can say whatever you want, man, because I felt bad because I cut you off. Go ahead.
We don't have to talk.
Well, we could.
Well, I thought the show ended.
You were like, man, I wanted to say something, so I'm letting you say it, man. It's still running. You just give me the word and I will stop the show.
Talk boilers. Ted is not here. Good one, Yamo. Kangaroo God took 6 rads out today.
Now you put us on the spot. There's nothing to say.
You know how we are with putting on the spot side.
No.
Yeah, put ointment on that.
So Adam forgot to mention that he did a Flex Seal commercial today.
Oh,
It's fake news. Fake news.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would have been fun.
Oh, God.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, don't use Flex Seal.
No.
That's exactly right.
Don't install 283 EcoBees either.
No.
Don't do it.
No. You feel like the other country putting mini splits together.
Yep. Okay. On that note.
See you next time.